In this video, I'm working on the trunnions for the table saw. This kind of goes with the shaft that I had done earlier, and so this is actually going to make for hinges that hopefully I'll have some pictures I can show of what this will finally end up coming out like. So what I've started, I've got this cut round and it's ready to start adding the features to it. That's all I've gotten, and you'll have to watch the video to find out why that's all the farther I've gotten so far. Enjoy. Alright, hopefully with this wider stance here, I got cranked down on these pretty good. Hopefully everything should be a little bit more snug. Let's see how it goes. This guy here, I'm going to start by drilling a hole in the center of this plate. I've already marked off where the center is and center punched it as good as I can. So it does have a lot of mill scale on it. So I'm going to give that a try. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'm going to zero out the DRO. And now we're on center. I'll get a center drill in here and start getting a hole in this guy. Got a chip stuck down in there, so just right on the center of the drill, it's just going down and stopping on it, which that's okay. I'm a little bit really close to going all the way through anyway, and a little scared about pecking my vise. Alright, this should be my last 30 thou. Alright, so there's actually two reasons for doing this. Main reason is I'd never used my boring head before. I've never used my power feed other than to see that it works. And now I've done both, and I've actually bored out a hole. It's got a pretty nice surface finish in there, feels nice and smooth. I like it. And I'll be able to have some confidence if I need to bore an actual larger hole. The second purpose for this hole is that I did it to be the same size as this hole here. I should be able to turn a plug now that I can stick into here and put in here, and that'll help me to center everything a little bit easier. Drill two holes, and I've already got the nuts here, so then I'll be able to stake it down with that, and then I can start doing the turning operations. I got the rotary table mounted down to the Bridgeport here. I had to move my vise over a little bit, so I need to sweep it back in, and got my new quill indicator holder mounted up here and touched off. I'm going to go ahead and zero that out, just moving the table. I'm going to do one last sweep here. I cleaned up the camera lens. I think I was really blurry. Apologize about that. I didn't really notice it. I think there was some cutting oil on the lens, so I got the lens all cleaned up. Show one more sweep. And it looks pretty dead on. Just for sake of completeness, I already touched off here and here just to find out, approximated the center, just eyeball, touched here and here, and then divided that in half to get my center this way. Now I'm going to go this way really quick, get that on video. So I'll center the X on that spot, then go to the other side. Okay, so here we see I've gone approximately 1 inch, just a little under an inch. What I can do now, select x-axis, divide it in half, and load that. Alright, so now this will be my new center. All I have to do is crank this down to 0. Like that, and now if turn you back down to the center finder, you can see it, at least looking at it, it looks like it's in the dead center. So if anybody that doesn't know how one of these works, when you turn it on, it's off center like this and it wobbles. As you get closer, this piece here will come in and then it'll get really, really still. And then once you're right on the edge, there'll be enough friction on it that it'll pop off to one side and it'll stay to one side. That's when you know you're right on the edge. So then you can zero out the DRO on that, go to the other side, it'll do the same thing. It'll come up closer and closer, and then it'll pop off holding still to one side. And that's when you know you're on the other end. And then from the DRO you can do, like what I just showed. You select which axis you were working on, cut it in half and load that. And that way when I go back to 0, now my 0, 0, when my DRO reads 0, 0, I know I'm in the dead center of this hole. So the next point for that, and the reason I went through this, here on the turntable, that hole is the same size as this. I have this little plug that somehow miraculously, this is about 5 thou under this hole and this hole. So it's got just a little bit of play. It might be 10 thou, I don't remember exactly, but it's enough where I can be reasonably assured that setting this on here will center it. Then estimate it, because it's not real critical. Center that hole out to this first T-nut right about 1 3/4 of an inch, and then out to the next one was right about 2 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and go out 1 3/4, drop a hole, and then 2 3/4 and drop a hole. Alright, using the DRO, I moved over half the diameter of this circle, which should put me right on the edge there. If I come down here on the DRO, I'm going to go ahead and zero it out, and then I'm going to move over the 1 3/4. I'm locking all the table joints. Now I just kind of realized I did not set this up. So this may be all for naught. Actually, what I think I'm going to do, I'm just going to tap these holes, just spot them. I'll spot this one, I'll spot the other one. That should be accurate enough for what I'm doing, but I forgot to put the plate here up on risers, so if I drill, I'm going to drill right into my table. And then to keep this a little bit lined up, I'm just going to come down into this hole here. loosen the jaw on the vise. And I can just slide the table over. And then I can just tighten the jaw back up. And hopefully that's still, yep, moves nice and smooth. So then I can come back. This should be exactly 1 inch over. Two holes there, hopefully they're large enough. Those will fit nicely. I can use these to bolt everything down. Just like last time, load Y. You can see it's just over 8 inches, which is, it's an 8-inch table. So got Y loaded, cut it in half, load that. Now my new Y is at 436. So I can bring the table I'm in the center of the rotary table. I'm going to go ahead and get the block of steel, the square, and I'm going to get him centered on here using my little plug gauge to get, at least close enough. It's not real critical that it's on center, because once it's on here, everything else will be concentric, and the parts will actually be chopped out according to the blueprints. So my first plan is going to be slide this guy over and sort of visually line him up and drop my little alignment guide here. Alright, looks like I'm going to have some issue. I'm going to have to move my vise again. Otherwise, as you can see, this guy's just touching here, so I don't need to go up much, but I am going to raise him up just a little bit. Let me get some parallels and I'll set that up. I'm not real happy about this being my only contact point. I'm a little bit off-centered, but I don't want to bolt down on this side because I've got cuts that I want to go all the way around. There's a C shape here. And I'd rather, if I end up, with a lot of chatter and this isn't holding strong enough, I'll just have to suffer through it, but I'd rather be able to just make a single cut all the way around. Otherwise it's going to be interrupted, come to here, come up over the bolt down, and then go around. So I think you'll see that a little bit more as I get moving a little bit. So let me go ahead and get these guys tightened down. And I'd also found, I just opened the jaws on the vise all the way up, and now they clear, so I don't have to worry about that. With there's two parallels that are 125 thou, 1/8 of an inch, which makes it so this just clears there. So we should be good. I'm hoping this is heavy enough that I shouldn't get too much chatter. We'll see how it goes with some different end mills, and I'll get this cranked down. And next up, I should be ready to put a tool in and start taking cuts. Okay, so on this guy there's a radius of 120 millimeters, which is about 4 3/4, so a diameter of 9.5. That's what I'm going to shoot for first. So that means coming off of the center of this circle, I would have to come over 4.75, which that would put the center of my tool right at 4.75, which would mean I would end up being, this is a 1/2 inch bit, so I'd end up being 1/4 of an inch the wrong way. So I actually need to come out a full 5 inches. So I moved out all ready to put my bit in. So now I just got to come back until my x-axis reads exactly 5 inches. Alright, so I'm right at 5 inches. I'm going to start just by touching off, and I'm just going to do a full circle, make sure, I'm going to watch everything close. I may come up just enough so I'm at least marring the surface. This mill scale that's on here may be a problem, but let me see what happens. It's just a trial run, see how it goes. I started a little bit and forgot to hit record, so came back and starting over. Doesn't seem like I'm super flat. And it looks like stuff's moving on me. So I'm going to go ahead and reset. I'm probably going to end up having to put a bit on this side. Which I didn't really want to do, but now that everything's kind of shifted around a little bit, I don't really have much of a choice. Alright, just so I don't have to mess with my mill setup, I went ahead and set it up over here on the drill press. That looks much better. Freshen up this drill bit a little bit. I don't think it's in great shape. I'm back from just the tiniest little touch on the grinder. Hopefully it's a little better. I'm guessing I'm just trying to cut too much. The bolt might be a little too large. Let me start with a pilot hole, see how that goes. So it wasn't a dull drill bit, and I don't even think it was the size of the drill bit. I probably don't actually need a pilot hole with this. I'll either mark it in the video, or maybe you can figure out what it was that caused the issue, because it should show up pretty easily on the camera. I'm focusing down here and not where the problem was. So let's see how it goes now. Like butter. So I'm going to take a guess here, and I'm going to think the 1/2 inch bit is probably going to be a little much, and this bit is probably dull. I'm going to swap it out with a different bit and see if I can get anything better. Starting with probably the easiest change that I can do right now, I just flip this guy over. I think this side's actually a little better. The other side actually looked like a little bit of burn marks on it, so it might have been pretty dull. So same bit, just the other side. We're going to give it a try, see if it does any better. Holy cow. Alright, so I've gotten about halfway through, and it's not fun. It's taken me quite a bit. I get about 50 thou each pass, and it's taken me, what, about probably 2 minutes to do each round. There's quite a bit of pressure. You know, it's not super hard. I mean, it cranks, but it's enough feedback. You know, it's like cranking the knee up and down. Not quite as bad, but almost. And a lot longer than cranking the knee up and down. So yeah, if I was going to be doing this a lot, this thing would be powered. I also noticed the shop's a little filled up with smoke. I didn't actually notice until now. I'm standing here, turned around, looking the other way. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of a break and let the smoke clear out. So I'm using a 1/2 inch bit here not because I needed to for this particular cutout, but I wanted to find out what it was going to be like taking this material off, because I'm going to be needing to take off, you know, quite a bit of material on the inside to bring this down to the thickness in the parts that it needs to be taken down to. So I didn't want to use a smaller bit, but I think you know, now that I know what this bit's like, I might go down to a smaller bit. I have some, I think some 3/8 carbide that I might give that a try and see. Hopefully I don't break it. But yeah, this is hell. Time lapse for the rest of it. Have fun. Alright, it's round. That sucked. I don't ever want to have to do that again. Oh, wait. It's only the first part. And apparently there's enough smoke in the air to set off the smoke alarm. I have to make 2 of these. If anybody has any suggestions for an easier way to do this, given the tools that I have, which is, you know, 10-inch lathe and this mid-sized Bridgeport, I'm open for suggestions. I still got quite a bit of work to do on this. So I mean, I still got, you know, about half the depth. I think it was somewhere around 350 thou. You know, I got to build in all the features on the face of this before I actually cut out the final shapes. So I think I'm going to call this a video. Like I said, open to suggestions.